Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today, I am talking all about the books I read in December. So I feel like December was an interesting but also kind of good reading month. Like I got some reading done that isn't like my everyday genre, which I kind of expected because I wanted to reach out and grab some other types of books, honestly, and also wanted to read some Christmassy books. So I did that. If you guys are new here, hi, I'm Kendra. I post book videos, sometimes beauty videos, and travel vlogs, and all that kind of stuff. If you want to see all those videos, then you should definitely subscribe. And also, if you want to see what I'm up to on a day-to-day basis, the best way to do that is Twitter and Instagram. My username is @Kendra Cus, so you can just find me on there, and that'll be the best place to see what I'm up to on a day-to-day basis. And also, I more recently got a bookstagram, so if you want to follow me on there, it's @Kendra Cus Reads, and that's going to just be like bookish content and all that kind of stuff. So yes. But let's just go ahead and get right on into it. So the first book I read this month is called Crown of Feathers. It is by Nikki Palpretto. I actually started this like the last couple of days of November, but it took me a really long time to get through. So I ended up just reading most of it and finishing it in December. If you don't know anything about Crown of Feathers, it is about a girl who has a sister, and whose sister's just barely older than her. And they live in a world where there were these phoenix riders beforehand, but then a big war happened. And so anyone who's I think they call it's not an animage. Is it an animage? Honestly, basically it's the people who can like communicate with animals / also be a phoenix rider are kind of like hunted down. It's not a good place for them. Let's just say that it's not a good place, and our main character is one of those. She wants to be a phoenix rider. So the beginning of the book starts out with her and her sister together looking for phoenix eggs, which are few and far between in this world, and they want to raise the phoenix egg so that they can have phoenixes and be phoenix riders. This book follows 3 different perspectives. It follows our main character, whose name is, I don't know why I'm spacing. It's been like a month since I've read this. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's because, spoiler alert, I didn't really love it. Whose name is Veronica. And then it also follows 2 other perspectives. One's name is Tristan and one's name is Sev. And the whole point of this book, well, like the main plot, and obviously this is no spoilers, but the main plot is that Veronica dresses up like a boy in order to be a phoenix rider, because in this place there are these hidden phoenix riders and no one really knows, and then she stumbles upon them and they only allow boys, so she has to dress up to be a boy. That is like one of the main selling points / plot points of this book. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interestingly done. There is a hint of a romance between 2 characters, but you can definitely tell that it will develop in the second book. I don't know, like headcanon, maybe some people think the guy might be bisexual because maybe he was into Veronica while she was still a boy named Nick. I mean, like, who knows? But there really weren't any sparks of romance, and there was just really, really strong friendship. So who knows? I liked a lot of parts about this book, and then I was so bored about other parts, and I'm really bummed. This was honestly one of my most anticipated reads of 2019. I remember picking up this book, like, I can't even remember when it was. I think it was back in May or June, just a little bit after it had come out, and I thought this cover was stunning. So I was really excited for it. My sister read it, she really liked it, and then I got approved on NetGalley for an arc of the second one. So I was like, oh my gosh, like this just gives me more incentive to pick this up. So that's kind of like what spiraled my pickup. I truly thought I was gonna love this book. I thought it was gonna kind of fill the hole of an epic fantasy that I felt ever since like the Six of Crows duology. Well, Six of Crows really isn't an epic fantasy. So I guess mainly the holes I felt since the Caraval series and also the Throne of Glass series. And it just didn't do that. I did not connect with any of the characters. I think that's the biggest point. I had 0 connection. And one of the perspectives, who is Sev, I felt was unnecessary. I think they could have brought him in. So there's a point where all 3 of them meet, and I'm not going to tell you anything about it, but I think they could have waited to even bring his character until that point, and then maybe in the second book give us a perspective of Sev at that point. Because my biggest gripe with this book was that it was way too long. Like, this could have been cut down by 150 pages easily. It is the first in a series, and it is 470 pages long. And I don't think long books are a problem. I like long books. I like long series. I will still read them. But there was just too much in this book that I did not care about. She didn't give me the intrigue because it's almost like over-explaining it so much. Anyways, this is a long way of telling you guys, I gave this 3 stars. I do see this book has potential, but it definitely felt like a debut novel. I don't know if this author has written other books or published other books. I'm not sure. It felt like a debut novel. My other gripe with this book is that like every conversation would take up 12 pages because in between everybody's one sentence, the author felt the need to write like 5 paragraphs as to why that character said that. So it really took you out of the conversation because you'd read a line from Veronica and then you'd read 5 paragraphs as to why she said that, and then you'd finally read Tristan's response and it's like, wait, what did Veronica? It was disjointed. It was jarring. I'm disappointed. I seriously lack the motivation to read the second one, but I do feel like this is promising. So I really need to read the second one. I have an arc of it. I don't think it comes out till like April or May. So I really just need to buckle down and read it. It might take me forever, who knows. The next book I read was the Enchanted Sonata. And I actually just read this like, I think on Kindle because I didn't even find it on like Apple Books or whatever. And it is by, let's pull this up here. It is by Heather Dixon Walwork. Now, this book is a Nutcracker retelling. I was really, really, really excited to get into this because if you don't know anything about me, if you don't know this about me, I am a massive, massive, massive Nutcracker fan. Honestly, it stemmed from when I was little and I watched Barbie and the Nutcracker. And ever since then, I have devoured any other version of the Nutcracker. I just love it so much. It's some of my favorite music of all time. And so I really wanted to read this book. Funny enough, I actually more so wanted to read Winter Spell by Claire Legrand, which is also a Nutcracker retelling. But upon reading the reviews, I was like, maybe I'll put that off till next year because it doesn't have the best reviews. And a lot of people say that it was like not even very close to a Nutcracker retelling at all. Anyways, we're getting off topic. The Enchanted Sonata is a Nutcracker retelling, but in this world, it is about a girl who, in my opinion, was a little too young. Like I would have liked it if they were more 16, but I think the girl was 15, and which is fine. It's a YA book, so I can't really complain about that. But it is about a girl who is a very, 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 very good pianist, and she is practicing for a very big show she has, which is the Christmas Day show. She is infatuated in love with this other pianist who I think is like 18 or 19 or something. I think he's getting ready to go off to college, or I can't remember. And so she wants to do this big show to show this guy how good of a pianist she is so that he will confront her the next day and ask her to basically be his girlfriend or get a kiss or something like that. Well, that night it's Christmas Eve and she gets a package and it is a book and it is a Nutcracker, and she starts reading the story of the Nutcracker and she gets instantly transported into this world. Not like physically transported, but like while she's reading it, like she literally is there. I don't know if that makes sense to you. She's not actually there, but she kind of is. Anyway, so the whole intrigue of the story is, why did this present show up under the tree? It has no from name. She doesn't know who it's from. It's just a Nutcracker and a book. And the book explains the Nutcracker or the prince's story as to why he became the Nutcracker. And then obviously, as the story of the Nutcracker goes, Clara, our main character, is transported into this world to help the Nutcracker save his people and also help him not be a Nutcracker anymore. I thought this book was so cute. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't like the best book I've ever read, and I did not expect that. It has like decent reviews on Goodreads, I believe. Like I think the average is, I guess it's a 407 average, but there's only 445 ratings, so it's definitely a lesser known book. I found this just because I was looking up Nutcracker retellings because I wanted to read a Nutcracker retelling. This book lacked the atmospheric value that I wanted from it. I feel like if you're rewriting a Nutcracker retelling, something that's super Christmassy and something that's super like whimsical, it needs to be a little bit more atmospheric. But I still loved it. I for a while wasn't connecting with the characters, and then towards the 3/4 point of the book, I like realized I really had connected with a few of our characters. I loved the Nutcracker as a character. I thought he was really great. It's not a very deep book. It's not a very like, you know, compelling or whatever, but if you're looking for a Christmassy read, maybe next Christmas, or maybe you just want to read it whenever, it is cute. Just don't expect anything wild from it. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was cute, and it kind of inspired me to write my own Nutcracker retelling. So catch that coming to a bookstore near you in 20 years. I'm just kidding. Let's talk about the next book I read, because this one compelled me. And that is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. I bought this book on Book Outlet for like $2.50 on the Black Friday sale. So like next time there's a big sale, you better go on Book Outlet, because I bought out in really great condition hardback for $2.50. Just saying. So this book, you guys, I think I gave this 4 stars. Let's check. 4 stars. So I consumed this in like less than 48 hours. I was instantly enthralled. Originally, I picked up the audiobook because I had felt that was probably the best way for me to consume the story at the point I was at in the month. I still was reading a couple other books, and I was like Harry Potter, and I don't know. I was just like, yeah, I'll just do the audiobook, because I feel like it's not going to be that good of, well, not that it was going to be a bad book, just not like that great of a book. Let's do the audiobook. So I got ready that morning, was listening to the audiobook, then had to drive about 50 minutes in the car, listening to the audiobook the whole way, had to eat lunch before I got to where I needed to go. So I was listening to the audiobook in the car, I was eating lunch. And then at that point, I was captivated. I was like, why didn't anyone tell me that this book was so good? So I got home from working that day, and I sat down and was just reading it all night. And then I woke up the next morning, and I don't remember if it was a weekend or whatever, but I was just able to read the next day, and I finished it. Okay? But we're getting off topic. I should probably tell you what this book is about. This is a retelling of the Christmas story. So it is about a girl. I mean, it's very different, but it is very heavily inspired. It is about a girl who failed to listen to the ghost that visited her on Christmas Eve night. So she was the Scrooge, right? The ghost visited her, she failed to listen, and a week later she died. And so it is about her life coping with this weird afterlife she's in, because now she's a part of the Scrooge program. Or I think it's Project Scrooge. I think it's Project Scrooge. And she is the ghost of Christmas past, I believe. Anyways, it is the cutest Christmas book ever. I felt like I was literally watching a Christmas movie as I was reading this. Like, it felt very cheesy, but in a more of a mature way, and I really respected that from it. I actually really liked Holly. I kind of liked that she was a brat. It was very interesting to read about, honestly, and I feel like it was a great character progression from start to finish of who Holly turned into. The thing about this book that I loved was this really, really, really cute, like, forbidden romance factor to the story. The new Scrooge for that year is this boy that she is around the same age with. Well, her age for when she died, which was 17. And she starts having feelings for him as they're working with him throughout the year to get his memory so that they can really drive home the point on Christmas Eve that he needs to be better. I don't know why this is so hard for me to describe. Anyways, it is so cute. Loved it so much. I highly, highly, highly recommend this to anybody who wants a Christmassy read next year, maybe. But the only thing I will say was slightly disappointed in the ending, which is neither here nor there because it was really cute regardless. But there was a couple of setups that we weren't given like resolutions to. Does that make sense? Like almost a couple of, not particularly foreshadowing, but almost that kind of just nothing happened with. It would have made me happier if they would have somehow closed the chapter, even still keeping the way things were, but it's fine. I liked it. It was really cute, and I recommend. 4 stars. The next book I finished was American Royals by Katharine McGee. This was completely spontaneous for me picking this book up. This was definitely more of a mood read situation. I had heard my friend here on BookTube, Majel, talk about it a lot. Just from like, I don't know, I think it was like after we were done with our overhyped book club live show and we just chat about what we're reading, and she was reading this at the time and she loved it so much, and I read her Goodreads review and I was like, dang, I should probably read this. And then my other friend here on BookTube, Heather from Aphrodite Reads, was talking about this on one of her videos, and I was like, okay, I need to buy this, because both of them were saying it was like reading Gossip Girl, and it's totally true. It feels like you just mixed American politics with Gossip Girl, and it was great. Like literally, I think I wrote in my review, America, but make it royalty, and Gossip Girl, but make it political or something. I don't know. I loved this book. I will say about 3/4 of the way through, felt like was so cliche. Like that's not a word, but you know what I mean? To the point where like I couldn't really get behind everything. Like it felt like there was so much miscommunication trope, and that makes me want to like literally like pull my esophagus out of my throat. So I had to put that aside, because in the end I did really like our characters and I did really like the romances. If you didn't know anything about this book, it is about 4 characters. There's Daphne, there's Beatrice, there's Samantha, and what's the other girl's name? It's the best friend of Samantha, and I don't know why I'm having such a hard time remembering. Nina, it's Nina. So we follow 4 different perspectives. It's those 4 girls. I thought the main character was going to be Beatrice, but it definitely expands into like all 4 characters. They're kind of all the main characters, except for Daphne's kind of more off to the side. But we follow Beatrice, who is the crown princess, and she will be the first queen of the United States. Up until this point, every successor of the throne has been a male character or a male person, and it has been the firstborn male. But then her father and grandfather, before her grandfather died, I believed, changed it to be the firstborn child. So it doesn't matter if it's a woman or a man. And she is the crown princess. She will be the queen, and she has a lot of nerves about that. Obviously, she has a lot on her back, and she has definitely become a very unhealthy, introverted person through that. Obviously not all introverts are unhealthy. I'm an introvert, but I just mean like she's so closed off that she can't do anything she wants to do. And then we follow Samantha, who is Beatrice's little sister, who feels like she's the spare sister and who has a very disconnected relationship with Beatrice at the time. And then we follow Nina, who is Samantha's best friend, who is also secretly in love with Samantha's twin brother, Jefferson. And then we follow Daphne, who is Jefferson's girlfriend. Jefferson's ex-girlfriend. Obviously, the dynamic is very clear that it is very Gossip Girl-esque. One of the things that makes it really interesting and was also like killing me inside, because I needed this to be resolved, was that Samantha falls for somebody who ends up having to, and I say having to, but really kind of having to be somewhat romantically involved with her sister. And oh, it was killing me inside. They're like longing to be with each other. It was just killing. Anyways, I really liked this. I did end up giving it 4 stars because I felt really disconnected and almost a little, I rushed through the last 3/4 through the last quarter of the book, because I was just like, okay, yes, miscommunication trope. Okay, yes, can we get through this now? You know what I mean? But I definitely recommend this. I ate this up so fast. I think I read it in like 3 days. Usually it takes me like, 5 to 6 days to read a book, but 3 days, I couldn't put this down. It was so good. And then the last book I finished in December, I actually started this back in November, but when I read these, I like to take them really slow, and it is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Obviously, this is the illustrated edition. It is hella heavy. I'm not going to hold this up the whole time. I did give this 5 stars. This is my favorite book of the series, and actually, interestingly enough, when I was rereading The Prisoner of Azkaban in October, I was like, maybe this might take the cake for my favorite book of the series. And then when I was rereading this, I was like, man, maybe I'm still liking Prisoner of Azkaban more. But the very end of this book, I feel like is just so well done that it just reminded me that this is still my favorite book of the series. So I'm going to put this down now because it's really heavy. The only thing that's a bummer about the Goblet of Fire Illustrated Edition is I feel like it has half as less illustrations as the previous one did. The Prisoner of Azkaban one was so incredibly well done. So many gorgeous illustrations. And this one had gorgeous illustrations as well, but I feel like it was less. I don't know why. I do know that this book took 2 years to come out, whereas before they were all coming out every year. Hopefully the next one only takes a year to come out, which means it would come out this October rather than 2 years. I haven't heard any news yet, but I'm crossing my fingers. I understand why they take a long time because illustrations are hard and people that do art are very, very talented and it's very time consuming. But I really want to get my hands on the next one. And also, I'm not very patient, so. I am really excited to get on into the Order of Phoenix now. The way I've been doing this reread, it's been really slow, and I took like a break over the summer. I didn't read a Harry Potter book over the summer. But the way I've been doing this reread is reading the book, then watching the movie, because I do love the movies so much. I read these books while they were coming out, or like when I was young, but I definitely watched the movies all the time as a kid. So I love the books, but I also love the movies. So I love watching the movies. So I wanted to read the book and then watch the movie and then read the book and then watch the movie. So it's been really hard because after I've finished with the one movie, I just want to watch the other one. But I'm like, no, Kendra, you gotta read the book. You gotta read the book. Because I feel like if I watch the movie and then read the book, I'm not going to have as much motivation to read the book. And I don't want that to happen because I love these books and they deserve a reread, but you know what I mean. So that is it for my December reading. I think I read, let's see. I think I read 5 books, which is pretty good. I feel like that's been better for me than the last couple of months have been a little less. I haven't been devoting as much time to reading as I would like to, but I did set my Goodreads goal for this year for 65 books. So cross your fingers that I can reach that. Okay guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please let me know by giving the video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you are new here, and check out my social medias and all that fun stuff. I'd love to be friends there as well. But with all that being said, I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a great morning, noon, evening, day, night, whenever happens to be that you're watching this video, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye.